He's throwing us out in 5 minutes.
There was 2 people here, so it's really quick. Could you give maybe like one tactic or one example that you've dealt with personally in dealing with like governmental repression, whether from the FBI or any other governmental agency? What's successful? Like is there attitude, or is it like something that like you teach group cohesion, or communication between groups, so misinformation techniques don't.
Young man, you're planning to commit sedition, aren't you? Word of advice. Work with kindred spirits you've known for a very long time. Very being a relative thing, but make it a while, okay? You know who they are, and don't make it all that many of them. Start there, okay? Don't make it somebody public like me either, all right? Lay out the idea, but, pick your compatriots carefully. Hard to infiltrate a close-knit group that knows each other for a long time. Most of the organizations that have been successful in doing things, I'm not going to specify what those things are, okay? Are people kind of clan related, grew up together. They come out of small communities, okay? They got that history. Those things can still be cracked, but it decreases the probability. There's your tactic, okay? Stay out of jail, in other words.
When I taught at the prison, I asked some of my students who had been mules, how they trusted the people that they worked with. And most the students I happened to ask that were, for the most part, Mexican nationals. And they all looked at me like an idiot and said, it was my brother. Yeah. It was somebody from my village. And I have a question for you real quick. Why haven't the feds popped you in a major way? for writing about taking out, for saying that U.S. out of North America, why have they not, why are you here?
It's a good question, actually. Part of it has to do with luck, and that's a fact. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Denver spy files, so I hate that name. Sounds trite. Okay, the political intelligence files from Denver Police Department. One of the documents in there was the FBI reporting to the Denver Political Intelligence Unit. In fact, they picked up information in Minnesota that a professor at this place, Glenn Morris, myself, Russell Means, were to be assassinated at the National Congress of the American Indian annual meeting in Denver. About, I guess at this point, 8 years ago. What foiled that? Well, by law, they were to let us know so we could take precautionary measures. We heard about it when they released the files. Here's what prevented it from happening, to the best of my knowledge. None of us went to the conference. That's it. The Denver PD posted people to take notes. That was their response. Well, we hope they're good shots, and we'll be sure and take accurate record of it. So it's not an absence. It's maybe an aptitude. I don't know. The Patriot Act thing, I don't know why that hasn't been invoked, and that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, John Stockwell, somebody once asked him why he hadn't been killed. He's a CIA agent who exposed the agency, and he said because they're winning. And I think there's a lot of...
Well, there's something to that, too.
That's why there were so many more lynchings after the American Civil War than before, is because when that entitlement was seriously threatened. That's the truth. Is when the entitlement of the American people become to exploit everything in the world gets seriously threatened, we're all toast. Anybody who opposes it all is that underlying contempt will turn into outright hatred and overt hatred, I should say.
You had mentioned that when you said break the faith of Americans, do you think that it's possible through discussion and through discourse to kind of like make people realize that, or do you think it's going to take the inevitable fact that there won't be the resources around to maintain this way of living, and then that will be the only way to actually break the faith, is the actual inability for there's no oil, there's no whatever, all the stuff that we need for civilized society, do you think that, because to me it seems like the only inevitability. It's like, I don't know what else it's going to take for people to really question it without its absence. So that's my question.
Oh, we have been very bad. We have not been repeating any of the questions.
You're right. Let's repeat them all now.
Yeah. Okay, so the question was, do I believe that it's possible to break people's faith in the system, whatever, break faith in X, through discourse, or will it only happen through the elimination of resources? And I'm sure you have an answer to this too, and my answer is it's circumstantial. That there are some people, that's why I write. Well, that's not true. Because I don't write to break people's faith. I write for people who already understand how messed up everything is, and I want to give them courage to go further. I think some people can get it through, for crying out loud, I voted for frickin' Reagan, I got it through things in my own life. And there are other people who will never understand. They will be standing there with how many Jews walked into showers? There are people who will not, and this is to say nothing against them, but there are people who will walk to the very last moment. I used to have this fantasy of sort of standing on this destroyed planet and shaking some CEO and saying, now do you get it? But I've since come to realize that I could probably do that, and he would stare at me uncomprehendingly and say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I won't even get that hollow satisfaction. So there are some people who won't get it, some people through discourse, some people it's...
Right.
And you give some people something to plug into at their own pace. And you never know when that's going to take hold. In a lot of cases, maybe it never does, but you never know. That's arrogance to assume. You put it out as clearly as you can. Okay? In my experience, academic experience, I've had people who were right on ready for the revolution who end up, tending bar forever in Boulder. Basically. And I've had young Republicans who hated everything I stood for and wanted to fight about everything come back 7 years. This has actually happened. Said you were right about this, and then some other things started to make sense. So you just put it out, you stay consistent, and you see where it goes. People will take it where they're going to take it. But when things happen, you give them something to plug it into. Right? And I bet every one of those people that ended up in that shower at that last moment said, those other guys were right.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little late for the cognition. You hope it happens a little before that. But when it happens, you give them some framework of understanding, and they'll take it somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're out of time. Do you want to take one more? Is there any others?
Is there a great finale question?
Okay, man, hit it.
Okay.
That's
Why?
it.
This is going to take way too long. I know the answer that you're going to
Well, that's the shorter one.
The question is, why did we get to this point that we're at right now? Why did the system, why was it allowed for the system to get to the point where it is? And if it is taken down, how is it going to be ensured that it doesn't happen again? And the third thing is...
Well, the second one's easy, by the way.
Okay, what's the second?
The second one is there will never be another oil age. There'll never be another iron age. The resources are gone. It won't happen. There can be little small civilizations build up again, but there will never be another global civilization. So we can throw that one out. Oh, and one more thing about that, which is that question is a valid question. And I ask it a lot, but I don't ask it really very much anymore because it's kind of like saying, okay, there is a mass murderer in our house, and he's coming after us with an axe, and I'm kind of afraid he's going to come back tomorrow. It's like, let's worry about that one tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, then this is the last question. How are you going to ensure that you don't turn into a religious figure?
Are you asking both of us?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this sign, demon, demon, demon? You mean like Dylan's flesh-colored Christ that glows in the dark? That kind of religion? What are you talking about? I mean, we have spirituality, both of us.
Leader of a cult.
Oh, cult leader,
or a savior.
a savior.
Well, personally, I did not want to go like this.
No, no. Mm-mm.
Because
I answer that.
if that's the point, if we
Go
are
ahead.
trying,
My answer to that is when people ask me, what do you want me to do? I always say the first thing is, sure as hell don't listen to me. Because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And that's not true. That's not what I say. What I say is don't listen to me because I said this afternoon. I'm doing a drive-by. I don't live here. I don't know how to live sustainably in what is now called Denver, Colorado. If you want to know how to live sustainably, go ask the river. Go ask the prairie dogs. They know how to live here. You might actually ask the human beings who lived here for a long time. Just a thought.
If you can go to Wyoming or Montana or Oklahoma to find them, because they're been shoved both directions to make way for this wondrous creation.
So ask those who live here, including the non-humans. So that's why I won't be a religious figure, is because when people say, what do you want me to do? I say, think for yourself. Which disqualifies me from being a religious figure. It's like rule 3 or something. And then your first one is, how did it come to get to this stage? I think partly really bad fucking luck. Because I mean,
I think you should write a 1,600-page book on this one. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, that's an important question.
but we're already here, so
But we're
let's
already
not
here. I
worry
mean,
about it.
the psychopathic killer, which, by the way, I got that image from you in the first place, is in the house, and we're going, so are you coming through the screen door?
But then that's relevant to if the system's taken down, we have to figure out why it was here in the first place, so we know that it can never happen again. Because we're as
I think that one's been answered about 3 different ways, though.
intelligent humans, we're going to figure out some way to become. I'm sorry. Well,
Well, intelligent humans, we can figure out some way to get along with each other. It's like my friend Jeanette Armstrong, who's an Okanagan Indian. She said, you know, we within our communities have the same squabbles that you white people do. And the big difference is that we know we're going to be living here for 500 years. And so I need to figure out how to get along. And so we have communal ways to resolve those disputes. And that's also with the non-humans. We have ways to get along. And so part of it has to do with recognizing we're going to get in fights, but well, it goes back to the first thing we said about decolonizing your mind. I mean, and then disallowing others from exploiting. That's how you stop it from happening again.
absolutely that. Yeah.
Which seems like a good place to stop.
Seems like a real good place to stop. Okay.
So thank you for your great question. Setting this whole thing up. Karen, Jeff,